Welcome to a special edition of Go Vote Omaha. This is a campaign candidate forum for the primary for Legislative District 13 in the unicameral, presented by the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha. I'm Geri Simon, a League member and moderator for the forum. The League of Women Voters never supports or opposes political parties or candidates. We present this forum solely for voter education. The format for our forum this evening is as follows. Each candidate will have a 1-minute opening statement. We'll follow that with a question and answer period. Each candidate will have up to 90 seconds to answer every question. And we'll conclude with 1-minute closing statements from the candidates. A timekeeper will alert the candidates when 30 seconds of time is remaining and when to stop speaking. Before the forum began this evening, the candidates drew lots to determine their initial speaking order, and I'll introduce them in that order now. There are 4 candidates running for the seat for Legislative District 13 in the primary. 2 of them will advance to the general election. And they are Mark Elworth Jr., Jill Brown, Justin Wayne, and Jake Seeman. Welcome to all of you. We'll go right to our opening statements, and we'll start with Mark Elworth Jr.
My name is Mark Elworth Jr. This is my second run for government. I'm really stoked about it. I've had a really good run so far. Actually, the state chairman for Nebraska's newest political party, the Legal Marijuana Now Party. We're very close to our petitioning goals. And right now I'm just gearing up for my hemp petition. I'm ready to bring hemp farming to Nebraska. And right now we're gearing up, and everything I do is going towards the hemp petition in this run, and I've just been having a great time and meeting everybody in Nebraska. Everybody's just ready to get involved. Everybody's ready to do something in Nebraska, ready to move forward, and I'm ready to push that forward. And Vote for Me is really going to help push forward, get this positive issues out there, environmentalism, helping people out. I appreciate you guys having me here today.
Thank you. Jill Brown.
Well, thank you, Geri, for having me, and thanks so much to the League of Women Voters for, since 1920, helping spread democracy. My name's Jill Brown. I'm an associate professor at Creighton University. I'm a lifelong Nebraskan. I've lived and worked other places in the world, in Southern Africa, in the Dominican Republic, and in India. Really formative experiences for me. I was a healthcare worker, a Peace Corps volunteer, and a researcher. But I'm running, quite honestly, because the state has given me so much, and I'm called to serve, to give back to the state. I believe that the heart is really the first home of democracy, and it's where the first questions that we ask are found. So questions like, can I be fair? Can I be equitable? Can I listen with my full attention? And I feel like I've answered those yes. My experiences, I think, poise me to be a good legislator and to continue to fight for social justice in District 13, in our state, and in the broader world. Thanks.
Thank you. And now Justin Wayne.
Thank you for the League of Women Voters for putting this on. My name is Justin Wayne, and I'm currently on the Omaha Public School Board. The reason I am running is because I believe I have what it takes to succeed. A little bit about me: I grew up in this district. I attended Hartman Elementary, went to Northwest High School, and then thought I was going to play basketball in the NBA until I was hit by a drunk driver. I transferred from University of Kansas and went to Creighton and Creighton Law School. And it was at that point I realized the value of education. Education is the passport to the future. And so I took that fundamental belief about education in neighborhoods, and I ran for the school board where this district elected me to serve on accountability, transparency, and making a greater investment in our children. I was able to do that in 2010. You re-elected me in 2013, and now I'm asking for your trust and support to elect me to District 13 in 2016.
Thank you. And our last opening statement from Jake Seeman.
Well, first off, thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm honored to be here. A little bit about me. I'm a lifelong Omahan. I'm very involved in the community. I was the treasurer of a neighborhood association. I'm active in local politics, works for members of both parties. After my most recent campaign, I was offered a job at Domina Law, where I'm gainfully employed today. I'm running primarily to expand Medicaid, end mandatory minimums, and among a whole other host of issues. I really look forward to discussing some of the issues here tonight, so thank you.
Thank you. We'll go right to our first question, and we'll start with Jill Brown on the question. And it is, how do you propose Nebraska continue to adequately fund schools, and what's the state's obligation for school funding?
Well, I think education is by far the most important thing that we can do for the state. So how do we adequately fund education is that we need to find creative ways that aren't strictly property tax driven to fund schools. We need to allow teachers more freedom and innovation to do that, but as legislators, we really need to work creatively to do that. I would very much be for always investing in the schools, especially OPS, especially in schools that really do have, large English language learner populations. They have large number of students living in poverty. Yeah.
Thank you. Justin Wayne.
Well, education is, again, a passion of mine, and over the last 3 years as a member of the Omaha Public School Board, we were able to invest and get the community to support over a $421 million bond, of which Ponca Elementary is allowed to stay open and get completely remodeled. We also are remodeling Florence Elementary. We're also remodeling Minnelusa, Hartman, and the list goes on for District 13. And the reason we were able to do that is because we went out and asked the voters for support, but we did it through accountability, transparency, and raising achievement for all. So the key is making sure we put more dollars back into the classroom, where we get rid of the bureaucracy and we focus on the children. We were able to do that underneath my leadership as president. We moved over 100 people out of the TAC building back into the classrooms. And so I believe in increasing funding, not just increasing funding, but making sure it's consistent. Over the last 25 years, there's been 24 changes to what we call TIOSA, the education funding law. Schools can't do budgets. Schools can't make sure they plan ahead unless our state makes sure it honors its obligation by giving everybody a high quality education, and it starts in the classrooms. That's why I support teachers, and I've always supported teachers when working on the Omaha Public School Board. So I'm a big education supporter. We increase resources to the classroom, we support our teachers, and we hold districts accountable, and I believe we'll make sure we increase our education and our funding for education.
Thank you. Jake Seeman.
Well, yeah, I absolutely, increasing funding for inner city schools is paramount. Even with, according to the Open Sky Institute, even with bonds and levies and all these other mechanisms that school districts take out to increase funding, there are still rural school districts that have $2 to $3 for every $1 a student in OPS has. And I think that's a huge issue, and yes, it is based on the problem therein is how money is allocated for school districts through the property tax. I absolutely agree with Jill that is the avenue that needs to be discussed in the legislature, and I think that is the key to solving a lot of Nebraska's funding problems as far as its schools go.
Thank you. And Mark Elworth Jr.
Yeah, school funding is really one of my top priorities of my campaign. I think we build these kids up and they can go far, our state can go far. First thing I would do to get funding, I would close prisons and jails. I would get these people, get rid of laws that are putting people in jail when they could be out working, frivolous laws, get different avenues, get those people, take all that money from those prison systems, which is a lot of money. It costs like $120,000 to house an inmate per year, which we have plenty of those people. If we put that in the education system and start building it so these kids can go survive after grade 12, they can go on to college, or they could have a good career from there, then we wouldn't have the problem of having all these people without jobs looking to make a quick buck here and there doing illegal stuff, getting in jail. How else are we going to get this money? I think is get people to a slow process of getting people back to work, and then building that tax base from getting people to work by probably cutting taxes for small businesses higher, but then we're going to get more people to work, and there's going to be more tax money flowing in, so that'd be another way. So we want to build economy, close jails.
Okay, thank you. And our next question. Nebraska needs better mental health services both in prisons and in communities. What should be done? Now we'll start with Justin Wayne.
Well, first we have to understand how complex this issue is. You have students who are in urban areas that literally live in some war zone, and we have to make sure that we deal with those issues as such. We have mental health issues across the state because we have defunded mental health in our state. and we have to increase funding back because, to Mr. Ellsworth's point, if we want to remove people from jails, we have to make sure they don't go to jail. And many of the issues that people serve in jail right now have mental health issues. So we have to increase it. We have to do things outside the box. So for example, Omaha Public Schools recently passed a new partnership where we're going to have social service workers working with our students to make sure that these students get the services that they deserve. The key to government is not necessarily bigger and better. The key is smarter and effective. In order we do that, we build with community organizations and make sure the ones who specialize in those areas like mental health have the resources and the state support to get those things done. Because at the end of the day, if we lose our best and brightest to leave the state or to the jail system, our economy suffers. So that's why it's important and critical that we continue to increase mental health, make sure we have accountability in mental health. And it was a travesty over about five years ago to a decade that we started closing regional centers around in Nebraska. We need those open back up, and we need to make sure we fund it. Our budget is $8 billion over a 2-year period. We can find 100, 200 million in our budget to make sure the people of Nebraska get the mental health services they deserve.
Thank you. Jake Seeman.
Yeah, I completely agree with Justin on that. We need to make sure that we get those institutions the funding that they need. We also need to do is make sure that they're managed properly. The Department of Health and Human Services in Nebraska is horrifically mismanaged. Plenty of cases where neglect in nursing homes and facilities. Yeah, that's a huge issue. And as a member of the legislature, we can provide oversight and accountability to things like that, and I'm absolutely committed to doing that.
Thank you. Mark Elworth Jr.
I really think there is a problem with mental health in jails, adult facilities. I think that a big problem is that I grew up in a day when there used to actually be mental health, and now the mental health has actually turned into kind of like a prescription type deal. Like, you got this problem, take a pill, take a pill, take a pill. But yet the mental health has disappeared. The actual psychologists and counseling, that's not there. You can't get that. I mean, even a person off the street, if I had a problem I want to talk to, there isn't like a counselor to go to. They would just prescribe me a pill, and that's not what I want. I want to be a brain dead idiot. I want to be able to go out and manage my life and go get a job and do stuff with my life. If I need to talk to somebody, I need to talk to somebody, and it goes all the way up to same with the jails. How are these people getting mental health in jails? Most of the people I know in jail, they come out, with more skills to be criminals than when they went in. They're not really getting any mental health. I mean, not that I've heard of. I think it's something we need to get people out. That mental health education, the people in jails, we need to get them out as a priority. And mental health, it's not here. I do support mental health facilities coming up. People, public and private, we need more of it, definitely.
Okay, thank you. And Jill Brown.
Okay. Well, this issue is really personal to me. I'm trained as a psychologist, but I think it's a much bigger issue that we can't expect to have mental health care in our prisons if we don't have mental health care for the rest of our population. And I think this comes to providing affordable health care for everybody, and that affordable health care being mental health care. So through preventative programs, through getting programs where there's actually access, so through schools, through clinics where working women and families go, is a real touch point for mental health care. My husband actually works as the chief medical officer at Beatrice State Developmental Center. So has been involved since the Department of Justice was there to try and help with some of the issues of mental health in, like what Jake said, some of the most mismanaged mental health in the state of Nebraska. But I've listened to him for the past 15 years when people call and say they are in crisis, they need mental health, not just in the jails, but in the whole city. And there's only 50 beds in the whole city. It is a real crisis that we're experiencing, and we can't expect prisons to do a better job than we're doing.
Thanks. Thank you. Our next question is, do you support Medicaid expansion in Nebraska? Please explain your position, and we'll start with Jake Seaman.
Yes, absolutely. I support Medicaid expansion in Nebraska. By the most conservative estimates, that will provide 70,000 people with health care. And one of the things I like to say over and over again is that it's not Obamacare, it's Medicaid expansion. And I think those two things get conflated sometimes. One of the most important caveats of Medicaid expansion is that it's already paid for. The federal government is trying to give us the money back, and we're just denying it. And it's time we just take that money, plain and simple. It's the moral thing to do. It's the fiscally responsible thing to do. And if Nebraska can afford the $2.6 billion in corporate giveaways and tax freebies that they've doled out over the last 20 years, we can find some money for Medicaid expansion and help out the poor and less fortunate in Nebraska.
Thank you. Mark Elworth Jr.
No, I do not want the expansion of Medicaid. I don't approve of government in our medical insurance, or even insurance. I don't even approve of insurance. I think insurance should be illegal. First off, it has overinflated our medical industry. There was a day I could have gone to the doctor and paid $25 out of my pocket and needed what I need. Now I have to get outrageous insurance, and I have to still pay a $600, $200 deductible plus a monthly deal, when before insurance I could pay $25 out of my pocket. It was a lot easier. Insurance has overinflated it. The government's overinflated the price of health care. It's a total mess. I think we'd be better off cutting taxes and getting people jobs and letting small businesses keep their money and get everybody jobs. Because you know what? I'd rather have a job than health care. I haven't had health care since I was a little kid. And luckily we do have facilities that will take me in. And I do really think we should build on those facilities where people can handle it and pay their own bills. Right now, providing all this medical care is costing our country too much money. It's costing our state too much money. We need to cut taxes and get people's jobs. I'd rather have a job than a health plan.
Okay, thank you. Jill Brown.
Well, first and foremost, I definitely support Medicaid expansion. LB 1032, I think it's a step in the right direction for increasing access to health care for everyone. But I think the older I get, I realize that the personal is political. For me, my brother has developmental disabilities and hasn't had access to health care, has worked a full-time job for over 27 years and hasn't had access to health care until a year ago when he got the Affordable Care Act. And honestly, he lives differently with more dignity. He's able to use to go to the doctor preventatively and ultimately not cost taxpayers more money. Another story, when I worked in Namibia, they don't have the same problems. They don't have access to caregivers, but you can stand in line all day at clinics and people do this and they can afford their health care. And even though they don't have that much in many healthcare providers, they have access. And it's a better system than we have here. So I would work collaboratively, because this is going to take a big issue. This is going to take a big push. I would work collaboratively with legislators and interest groups to assure this care. I think it's the best thing for the state of Nebraska. It is a conservative estimate that 70,000, I think almost 90,000 people will probably get health care through this. And it's not just that, it's economically. Rural hospitals are failing. This would help rural hospitals. It wouldn't just help people getting insurance, it would actually economically help people in rural communities have jobs.
Okay, thank you. And Justin Wayne.
I don't disagree. Excuse me. I'm a little under the weather, but I don't disagree with neither of the two sitting next to me. I think healthcare is very important. As a small business owner, I have a small law firm and I have a small construction company. Healthcare is a big issue for us and our employees, and we need to make sure that we have low cost, high quality, affordable healthcare. And one of the things that I'm the proudest of is my time on the Omaha Public Schools. We were able to open clinics for children and their families that cost the taxpayers no additional money, to where families in Omaha Public Schools can go there and get low cost, high quality health care by partnering with Charles Drew and One World. And I think it's those things and the stories that Ms. Brown said and the passion behind Mr. Seeman, that when you bring everybody together and you sit in closed doors and you talk across party lines, you forget about the political football and you get to answers. And that's what needs to happen in Lincoln. We need to forget about the political footballs and we need to start sitting down and have conversations and making sure we bring people together and propose solutions. And that's what I've been able to do for the last 4 years on the school board, work with the legislature. There's bills right now affecting the learning community and education. I'm constantly on the phone with those legislators trying to find solutions. It's that kind of bipartisan leadership when it comes to issues that affect everyday working people and everyday families that we have to solve, because our state is at the stake. Our future children are at stake. Because we're not just talking about expansion from Medicaid for the parents, there's kids involved. And our kids is our greatest asset as we move forward.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move to our closing statements now, and we can squeeze a little more time in. You can have an extra 30 seconds for closing statements, so we'll do 90 seconds. And we'll start with Mark Elworth Jr.
Cool. Hey, thanks again for having me on. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, because they're really just a solid place to come when you want to get everybody's information out here, unbiased information, and that's why I really decided to come on this, because I want unbiased information. And I think this is a very great race, a lot of great competition in this race. We don't have a bad person in here to vote for, and it's good. It's great, and I've been out here having fun, talking to everybody. I've been connecting with a lot of people. I'm sure everybody in my district has seen me out there, and I'm ready to keep going. I'm ready to bring listen to people. I'm ready to bring their items to the legislator. But I'm not going to lie, my first thing is going to be to legalize hemp and to legalize medical marijuana. I think it's issues that we need to deal with. I think it's issues that are going to bring in a lot of money. I think it's going to be stuff to help. Things can help our healthcare industry, like we've been speaking this whole night, and create jobs and money that unfortunately we just are drying up in Omaha. I don't see much opportunity out there, and I want to bring opportunity to my people. I want jobs, I want them going, and I'm ready to work for them, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And Jill Brown.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for taking this time to really figure out who will be your next state senator. I think it really matters. We need more accurate representation in our legislature. There's 9 women out of 49 state senators. Last time I checked, there's 51% of the population is women. So I'm asking for your support. I have the support of current Senator Tanya Cook, and I've talked to her extensively about what it really takes to be a good senator, to really serve with integrity. But more importantly, I think the question might be, what could I do? What would I be willing to do for you? I think what makes a good senator is really the ability to listen, and to listen closely and with your full attention. It's the same quality that makes a good friend or a good mother or a good sister or teacher. I think my training as a psychologist really does put me in a position, unlike other people up here, to really listen deeply. So thanks for your support.
Thank you. And Justin Wayne.
Today you heard a lot about investment in our communities, education, mental health, and healthcare. Those are all critical issues to our neighborhoods. And I truly believe that great neighborhoods build great communities, and great communities build a great state. It's not a slogan, it's what I really believe, and that's why I invest in the community by having a nonprofit that works with over 400 kids called the Midwest Trailblazers. I invest by serving time with the Kiwanis Club of Florence. I also invest by being on the Omaha Public School Board, which leads me to education. As I stated over and over, I truly believe education is the passport to the future. Our greatest asset is the human capital that we can produce. This isn't about urban versus rural, it's about what's best for our children. The last thing is about mental health, and I'll include healthcare, because to me they're the same. We have to provide low-cost, high-quality healthcare to all of our neighborhoods, all of our communities. And so I grew up right across the street from Orchard Park. And in 7th grade, Senator Dan Lynch at the time wrote me a letter because I wanted to know on federal forms and state forms why I had to deny one of my parents. I was biracial. And at that point I learned how much government can impact the individual. And if you look through the lens of the individual, if you look through the lens of the neighborhood, you'll understand that everything that we do should focus on students, the neighborhood, and the communities. And if we focus on those things, we'll build a great state. So on May 10th, I'm asking for your support, and if you trust me, I will go to Lincoln and end the politics as usual.
Thank you very much. And our final closing statement from Geri Simon.
Once again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. Justin, Jill, Mark, thank you for participating as well. I just want to say that if elected, I'm absolutely committed to being one of the most responsive and accessible state senators in Lincoln. I'm committed to Medicaid expansion, to fixing a broken correction system, and to balancing the budget but not on the backs of the poor. I'm the only candidate running this cycle who was not just on the ballot in 2014. So I do bring a new perspective to the ballot. So I ask for your vote on May 10th. and to allow me to continue playing a role in this discussion. And I'm absolutely sure I will advance an agenda, if elected, that LD13 will approve of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of our candidates for participating in the forum this evening. The League of Women Voters would like to remind our viewers that we are doing some other forums. We have on April 11th coming up a live call-in forum that will be for the MUD board candidates. There are 2 seats open for the MUD board, so join us then. Call in with your questions, which we will give to the candidates that evening. And then we have on Monday, April 25th, we have another live call-in forum, an hour forum, and we have OPS candidates, Omaha School District candidates for sub-districts 1 and 7, where there are primaries in the school board. Again, call in with your questions that evening. And then on Tuesday, April 26th, we're recording, it won't be live, but we're recording an OPPD Subdivision 4 candidate forum for viewers to see. We've previously done also Legislative District 39. That's actually airing on Tuesday frequently, actually, throughout the time before the primary election on May 10th. And then we also had the OPPD Subdivision 5 candidate forum last night. That was live, and that will be repeated for you. League forums are also available on our YouTube channel, which you can go to the League of Women Voters website at omahalwv.org and link to it right from there, or go directly to YouTube and look for the forums there. So for the League of Women Voters, I'm Geri Simon, reminding you to inform yourself about the issues and candidates, and when May 10th comes around, go vote Omaha.